And so this is Tuesday, 25th of October, and look, they're redoing the roof over there. If you can see that, there's roofing supplies on the top. I don't think they're going to do my roof, but because there's no problem with it, but I guess somebody had a leak over there. Anyways, it being Tuesday, I'll tell you about last night, which was the Monday. And here's what happened. I came to work, had a $20 trip right off the pop. Had another one for $15 right away. And then waited about an hour and a half. And I was not getting that many trips, but of the ones I was getting, they were between the $10 and $20 mark. And by just after 2, I'd had I guess about 12 or 13 of them. And then I thought, okay, it's all right, I'll go back to my customary space and wait. I was watching a video on my phone here, and I saw a couple of videos, and then the last thing I remember seeing besides that was my MDT going beep and telling me that somebody got scooped at Denny's. So somebody was held up in front of me. Okay, fine. There was 2 cars ahead of me held up. It was about 3 o'clock or maybe 2:30 or something like that. And I did an update. I did an update and it told me, I was second or third or whatever. Then I was watching my phone and propped up on the sun visor, and I fell asleep. And I woke up at about 5:45, the end of my shift. So they have this new setup where it used to toss you off if you didn't touch the MDT for 2 hours. Now I don't know, is it 90 minutes or an hour or what? But apparently they changed it so that if I don't touch the MDT for an hour and a half, and let's say I fell asleep at 2:30, the thing would have kicked me off the system at 4. And between 4 and 6 is the time where I can make some money in the morning. If it kicks me off the system, I can't make any money. So I ended up sleeping blissfully through the whole thing. And basically, I could have gone home just after 2 o'clock and made the same money as I made. Isn't that a kicker? So their system really sucks because, you fall asleep at 2:30 or so, which is my natural time to fall asleep, especially if I've been awake during the daytime for a week, like I have been. And now, just when it starts to get busy, it boots me off the system and doesn't give me a trip. Because if it doesn't boot me off the system, when it beeps at me, I'll wake up. I just will. And this is just a bunk system that they got going. So I'm kind of angry about that. I could have made another $30 or $40 in the morning. So instead of taking home the 70 that I took home, I could have taken home 100 or more. Which, when you get back from a vacation, that extra $30 or $40 at the end of the shift makes a difference. Especially on a Monday night. Okay, well, that was the Monday. And now we're on to the Tuesday night. And I'll let you know how that went as soon as it's happened. Well, here we are at the metal flower garden at the airport. Now, tonight, which was the Tuesday night, it started off with some good fares at the beginning. I had a few $20 fares like right off the bat. I think in 4 trips I had my lease on, which is wonderful. Or was it 5 trips? The trips were not close together. They were few and far between, but they were good trips. And then I was doing really well up until about 2 o'clock once again. And then I think it was 3 o'clock I was given a trip, but I didn't want to do it because I didn't like the address that I was being sent to. So I didn't do that trip. And then, of course, I got another trip about an hour after that, and it was a little $5 job, taking some people home to an apartment building from Denny's. Not a very big trip. And now, of course, I got just what I needed. A trip to the airport. I got over 200 on. It's good. The time is now 4:37 a.m. And I'll let you know how the rest of the week goes when we get to it. I consider tonight a success compared to last night when I got thrown off the system for not touching that toy for an hour and a half. Apparently that's the new policy. You don't touch that toy for an hour and a half, you get booted off. I'll talk to you sooner. Well, it's 20 minutes after 3 on Thursday morning. The Wednesday night started off with a long fare. It was to take an old man home from the veterans entrance at the Broadmead Lodge. Broadmead Lodge is kind of an old folks home, but they have this veterans program for these old veterans who don't live in the home, but they have activities for them. So it gives them an opportunity to get out of the house and play bingo and stuff. Or at least that's the part that I overheard. As the night wore on, it was just routine stuff. Didn't take many people downtown. There wasn't all that much going on. At one point, I was sent to an address to pick someone up. And I got there and I picked him up, and he gave me an address. Well, he gave me a street corner he's going to. And I said, all right, well, I'll just take this road here. And he says, no, don't do that. Take the highway. Okay. Sure, I'll take the highway if you like, no problem. And he said, yeah, some guy once took me on a crazy zigzag route that cost a lot more than it should have. And I said, oh, I wouldn't do that to anyone. And then when we were getting close to our destination, he said, well, just go in where that car came out. So I went in where that car came out, and he says, no, it's not that way. Go back out and go on the other street, and it's over there. And I said, well, I can't really see the addresses in these conditions. It was foggy, and people don't light up their addresses. People just put their addresses on the house or on the door, and then they have trees and bushes growing in front of the house or in front of the door, so you can't see the address. Gosh, it's dark out there. And he said, well, it's right there. I said, okay. He says, no, you passed it. Okay, so now I backed up, and he says, it's in that driveway there. I said, oh, okay. And he says, well, I want you to go in the driveway. And I'm thinking, oh, not only is he a control freak, he's a nervous control freak. Nothing worse than that. All it does is it makes you crazy, or at least it makes me crazy dealing with people who are like that. And then, because it was making me crazy, I ended up shutting off the meter completely. But it was $13.50, so I charged him the $13.50. He paid with a 20 and gave me, and said and I gave him a 5 back, and I was getting the rest of the change. He says, "Oh, no, 5's okay, that's fine, that's okay." Then this other guy came out of the house and said, "That was a lot of fun watching you guys go back and forth out there." And I said, "Well, I don't know, this guy's been confusing me. He said do one thing, then do another, then do another." And I said, "I'm sorry about that." And he said, "Oh, you don't have to apologize to me. You brought me a nice thing." And so then the two guys went and they started kissing. And so there you go. Maybe the guy who was in the car with me was in the closet. And maybe he didn't want to make the wrong impression. I don't know. He was quite nervous. Now, if he'd had some confidence, then it wouldn't have been so difficult to deal with him. Then, of course, I got one more call, which went to the airport shortly thereafter. That was good for $60. And I still have 2.5 hours to go till the end of my shift. So I'm over 200 now, so that's good. A little more would be nice. And maybe watch another movie. Oh, 2 more nights to go after this one. I'll let you know how they work out. And if something really memorable happens at this one, you'll see those flowers again. Okay, so here I am walking home in the morning after a Thursday night. It was a steady night. I had some decent fares. Didn't go to the airport or anything like that, but I had a few $20 range fares, and I went across town a few times, and I had enough business to keep me going, and did about between 200 and 300, which for a Thursday is fine. Didn't have anything really bizarre happen this time. I just another day at work. Watched some movies, videos that is, to kill the time in between. And it's kind of hard to see where I'm stepping with this light shining right in my eyes from the phone. But suffice it to say, it was a reasonably good night, and it'll keep me out of the soup line for a little while longer. And then there's... Oh, did I mention that this is probably Taxi Vlog 427? Yeah, that's about right. I could be off by 1 or 2. Don't have much else to say. Gonna work the Friday night. Let you know how things went after and during that. And talk to you sooner. It's Saturday morning. It's 5:45. I just worked. Can I lighten this up a little? Oh, I don't know. I don't know what I can do with this. Okay, well, it's Saturday morning at 5:44 a.m. It's the Friday of Halloween week is done. I'm really tired. I came out to work at 6:30 and went non-stop one after another all night long until 4. And at 4 o'clock, it got quieter. The highlights of the night, at one point I got sent to a restaurant downtown. I cleared downtown and this thing was only a couple blocks away from me. So I went for it. And I got there and I phoned the number. And there was a girl who answered and said, "My friend's coming out." And just at that time, this man and woman were getting in the car. He was opening the back door for her so that she would get in. So she got in the back, and he was getting in the front. And he asked her what's her address, and she wouldn't tell us what the address was. And then she kind of, after a few tries, you know, I'd say, "Well, if you can't give me an address, I can't take you there," you know. And finally, she gave me 1050 Smythe. Now, I didn't know where that was. I had to check and see where 1050 Smythe is, so I ended up taking out my other pair of glasses to read and taking out the map book, and I finally found it while he was... he ended up paying me $25 to take her there. And he was going to go with her, but she was obviously too drunk. She was really drunk. She was passing out drunk. But anyways, she wanted to go to 1050 Smythe, and he gave me $25 to take her there. And we drove one whole block, and she says, "Stop the car, just stop." And she got out and walked away. And I had the $25 in my hand. Couple of times there was one time I got sent to a house. And I was right outside the house, and I called the phone number that I was given. And the girl said, "Yeah, I'll be right out." Another cab pulled up behind me, and somebody came out of the house and got in the cab behind me. Then I'm sitting there waiting, and I called again. Well, there's no answer, you know. And another cab pulled up behind me and loaded and drove away. And then I thought, well, that's that. You obviously don't want this cab, so I'm driving away. The same thing happened again tonight. A second time, where I was sent to a building for somebody. I got to the building, called the phone number, got an answering machine, and there was a cab already waiting there. These two guys came out, got in the other cab, drove away. I called again, got an answering machine again, and I had a few instances like that. For the most part, I had some good trips. I had some decent tips. I got about $500 on, and I'm just about done. I'm gonna wash the car. I'm gonna fuel up. I'm gonna walk home, and I'm gonna drink some whiskey. And I hope yours is better than mine. Happy Halloween.